Perfect. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Meet Edgar's case study series. Today, I am really excited to be joined with Amber, who's going to walk us through how she uses Meet Edgar. And I would love just to start out, Amber, with you explaining a little bit about your business and who you are for our audience.
Okay, great. Well, it's nice to meet you all. As you can see, I'm from the South. I live in Georgia. I'm a nurse. I've been a nurse since 2005. I have a business called Nurse in the Works, and that's for pre-licensure nursing students. And I like to make content, an NCLEX review, which is their licensure exam. And I like to teach in a style that's fun for millennials and Gen Z. Anyone can take my classes. It doesn't have to be only those age groups, but that's really who I market to. I have a division of that. It's called a Nurse at Work for people who have graduated from nursing school and they're dealing with issues in the profession. But I also use MeetEdgar as me as a personal nurse for my Facebook page. So it's Amber McCall, nurse practitioner. So I use it mostly for nursing purposes.
Oh, that's fantastic. It's so cool to be able to have that hobby and your personal hobby be able to cross over into your profession and really have that show through on social media. So when you were actually developing either your personal brand and weaving in your actual professional posts, what made you first seek out needing a scheduling tool like MeetEdgar to keep all your posts in?
Well, the reason why I like MeetEdgar, I first heard about it on a podcast, and I really like the fact that it would recycle your content. So I felt like that's the working the smart way, being strategic. And I'm the type of person who's very creative, so I have creative bursts. I'm not really like on the second Tuesday of each month, I'm going to create content. It's really not like that for me. And I know a lot of creative people feel that way too. And so what I like about MeetEdgar is once you put it in and you put in content with the idea that it needs to be evergreen, meaning it really doesn't expire, it doesn't have dates on it, or it isn't timely as far as current events in the news. Because you can always post that as yourself. You don't necessarily need a software to do that. But a great way for nursing purposes is when a student is new to nursing, they have to learn how to take tests differently. They're not memorization tests, they're really critical thinking. And so that happens usually in early fall in August and early January. And so when I create content for how to take a test, I know that if I have that in my queue, it's going to come up during that time, and those nursing students can see examples of how to answer questions without feeling overwhelmed. And also, I don't have to do it because it was kind of like once and done. I will say it's prudent to look at your content, make sure you don't have anything that's old or expired. But honestly, I've used some of my posts for years now because, again, when I created the content, it was meant for evergreen purposes.
I love how self-aware you are with that, not having this really hard structure that you know is not going to work to produce your best content and write your best status updates if it's scheduled in. But for you, someone who just feels that creative spirit and is like, oh, you know what? Today I feel like I really could produce some awesome before and after posts or something like that. Being able to go into Edgar and actually create that is really important, and not only to keep your motivation up in social media, but also to make sure that your content tells that story that is genuinely coming from a place of excitement. Because I really think people can feel that on social media. They can feel that excitement through the words that you're writing, which is so, so cool. I'd love to hear a little bit about you talking how you manage your categories, how you chose to set these up, and how you do add the status updates to create that consistent story for your followers into each of the categories you've established in Edgar.
Right. So as you can see, I have some non-nursing categories too. That's a great thing about MeetEdgar. I don't know what your limit is now, but I think the limit is 25 accounts, or at least that was what it was the last time I looked. And that's pretty awesome for the monthly costs of MeetEdgar, and you get 25 accounts, and that can come from Instagram. You still have to auto post. Well, you have to physically post to Instagram, but it reminds you of what you had put in the queue, and that's with Instagram's rules. That's another great thing about MeetEdgar is they try to follow the rules so they don't get banned. But with nursing, what I like to do is, again, thinking of evergreen content, what I do is when I'm feeling creative, I like to go into Microsoft PowerPoint and I have a template, and then I save all the slides as JPEGs and I just import them and put them in their category. For example, you might see here we have nursing tips. And so, that cycles my content throughout the weeks. And what's nice about it is I can always add to it and quickly look through to see if any need to be deleted. But like I said, I've used some content for several years in a row because my particular audience, they start nursing school, then they graduate. And so it's always kind of like a fresh group coming in, seeing the content. And then, like I said, I have a plan for those students once they graduate to kind of help them when they're at work. And those are just at work focused nursing tips that really never expire because, the problems that we see in nursing now, some of them have gotten better over time, but a lot of them are the same they were 10 or 20 years ago.
Yeah, man, I love to hear that you have a template that you use in order to create these things. It goes right along with what you were saying at the beginning, working smarter, not harder, always creating this content in a way of knowing, you know what, I'm going to get new followers. I'm going to be someone who is going to be attracting my ideal clients. So these nursing tips that you've added to your library, taking the time to make them look so beautiful so that they're eye-catching and get people to actually stop their scroll on social media is so important. And I think that is a really great tip for the community. Just to understand you can have systems in place, and it doesn't mean that makes you any less creative. It just means you are really putting in the time to show your followers how much you care about creating quality content for them. So that's really awesome to hear. And I would love just to shift here a little bit, especially because you are such a powerhouse, it seems, in saving yourself time and having these systems, for you to talk to us a little bit about your strategy behind the RSS feeds that you've put into your account here. The RSS feeds in Edgar, for those of you who've never used it before, is a place where we are able to automatically bring over content from blogs and websites and add it into MeetEdgar as the sites start to release them. And it looks like you have taken advantage of this so well. So I'd love just for you to walk us through your strategy with this.
Oh, definitely. This is like one of my favorite things because if you have a trusted resource where whenever they publish something, it's something that isn't crazy or against your brand or, too controversial, you can import this RSS feed, and there's an easy way to do it. MeetEdgar has instructions on how to find the RSS feed for a website, but it also will automatically find it for you. But for example, here, the American Nurse Today, that is a trusted publication, and anytime they have an update, I feel totally comfortable posting it to my Facebook groups as well as my Facebook pages. And that is just so nice because I don't have to do anything other than make sure that everything is properly working. And so here you can see I post it to my personal work professional account for my page. And that just shows that anyone who's following me gets that update. And again, the great thing is it can happen in the middle of the night while I'm sleeping, or I can be on vacation and it posts. And it's, I set it up one time and I've used it forever. So I probably used that particular feed for 3 years or so, if not more.
Yeah, that's really great that you're able to have that trusted source and know, you know what, I can send these posts directly to my library because I know every single post is going to add value for my followers. And I care about really producing the best content no matter where it comes from them. And I think curated content is really underused on social media. It saves people so much time if they can just follow you on Facebook or on LinkedIn and know that you are someone who is going to do your homework and find sources like all of these. So I think that's really great that you've been able to do this for 3 years and create that consistency for your followers. So when you're thinking about when you're sending stuff out, like the creative tips that you've made versus like the news and setting up your schedule here, when you're actually going in and thinking about like when you're putting these time slots on the schedule, do you have any sort of workflows that you can suggest that you've taken to experiment in the best times for different types of content?
Right. So I've been with MeetEdgar for a few years now, and I've kind of switched my strategy. I used to post all the time, and now I found that there's so much traffic that I post regularly, but not necessarily every day for the same subjects. And when I set this current schedule up, it probably was a couple months ago, and honestly, I believe MeetEdgar gave me the predicted suggested times based on the business category, as well as when users are most likely to be on that platform, whether it be Twitter or Facebook or Instagram. And I just followed those suggestions, and I have found them to be pretty good. And again, I think a neat strategy here is if you want to increase your output, you can just go in here and schedule more. You can easily add a new time slot, or if you find that it's too much or you feel like it's not getting the engagement that you're looking for, you can always just delete that and stick with kind of more high traffic times, which is what I've decided works best for me for now. I'm sure that could change at any time, but again, that's the neat thing, is it's really simple to do as far as being intuitive software. That's, I guess you guys call it software. It's cloud-based software, but it's very easy to figure out. Like, I didn't have any trouble at all, putting two and two together and figuring out what to do. It was really kind of intuitive.
That's so great to hear. And I think you hit the nail on the head. Edgar does have a great feature on our schedule where we predict the times that traffic is really high on each social network, since each social network does have a little bit of a different consumption habit for the people on there. But I think you really encompassed it well, that there are these times that are really shown kind of from aggregate studies to get the most traffic, but you still have to think about your specific audience. And that is something that's nice about the schedule in Edgar, is that if you don't have a lot of data, you can actually just put those time slots on the schedule in the way that we suggest you do, and then alter it once you start seeing the types of categories people are responding to and the times of day. So I think that's really great that you said, you've been with us for a while and that schedule has changed so much. Because there's nothing worse than just not experimenting and trying new things to reach a new segment of people. So that's really awesome to hear. So we really love the way that you have taken this approach to social media. And I would love to hear any other features that you really find that you love the most about Edgar and what's kept you with the software for so long.
Right. Another thing is MeetEdgar sends emails and it tells you about your engagement. So they're kind of like just shorter reports as far as data about your different accounts. So you can decide, do I need to change my strategy? Do I need to capitalize more on this data? And I really like that because, again, that's one less report I have to officially create myself. So I like that. It also will email me if there's a problem with a disconnected account. Every now and then you'll have to just refresh your links just so the social networks know that the software should be in communication with them. And so that's a safety feature as well. But like I said, I have found it to be quite intuitive, easy to add the information, easy to upload content. And I just think with MeetEdgar, with its ability to recycle content, that really is the feature that I enjoy the most.
Awesome. Yeah, we do love sending you guys reports because, of course, it's a nice way to set it and forget it and have your social media feeds be fed. But keeping an eye on the reports and in your history tab here in Edgar is a really great way for you, again, just to make sure that you're listening to your community and always staying top of mind in the content that they want to see. So I'm glad those have been coming to you. Well, thank you so much, Amber. This has been a blast. Are there any last thoughts that you'd like to leave the community today?
I did find one thing very fun about MeetEdgar is we have a place in town called Edgar's Grill. One time I was driving by it and I got a MeetEdgar email. And so I emailed them to tell them, I said, I know this may not be significant to you, but I thought it was pretty cool. And then they sent me socks. So I have MeetEdgar socks.
That's so funny. I'm going to have to go back into our inbox and dig up that email. I love that story so much. Very cool. Well, thank you so much, Amber. This has been a blast.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.